We are joined by somebody who I have no problem calling legendary, the legendary Mr. James Lipton. Good morning, sir. How are you today?
Fine, sir. How are you?
I am excellent. You have been interviewing people. When did you first, let's go back to the very beginning. Let's start at the beginning. When did you start inside the Actors Studio and start interviewing actors?
I started it simultaneously with the Actors Studio Drama School, which is now at Pace University, and it was 19 years ago. And they started together, both the school and the show.
Excellent. And in the show, and since then, you have interviewed just about everybody who's anybody. How did you get your show to be such a place where these actors would want to go? I mean, some of these are hard gets, people that don't usually come out of...
Very hard.
Yeah.
Very hard.
And how'd you do it?
They come because we're a school. We're a master's degree program at Pace University. They come to teach our students. It's a different relationship. What's more, there's no pre-interview on my show. It's the only one of its kind. No pre-interview. That's why it takes me 2 weeks to prepare for each one. Next, it's about craft, and that's something they all care about. And the result is that we have had the most extraordinary group of people over the last 19 years.
Oh, yeah, you have had some phenomenal ones. Who are some of your favorites? I do interviews, obviously, on my show as well, and, I could pick out a few of my favorites that I've talked to over the years. Who are some of yours that stand out as for whatever reason, some of your personal?
There are dozens. I mean, how would you choose between, say, Scorsese and Spielberg and Julia Roberts and Johnny Depp and Brad Pitt, George Clooney, and where do you begin and where do you stop?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's been a fabulous run, and we're in our 19th year, and I'm about to do. We've got Hugh Jackman on tomorrow night, and then I'm interviewing Tina Fey, and then we're doing our 250th episode, which is a look back over that past 19 years, which is filled with many interviews, people talking about the show and their own experience with it. And in that one, I've already done interviews with Bradley Cooper, Jay Leno, Jennifer Lopez, Dave Chappelle, Robert De Niro, Sugar Ray Leonard, Conan O'Brien, Barbara Walters, Christopher Walken. Where do you begin and where do you stop?
Exactly. I mean, you have got so much going on there. One question, though, speaking of beginning and stopping, the Pope just decided he's stopping because he's too old. You are older than the Pope, but you don't seem to be stopping.
Well, but no, don't forget that I am also a candidate to succeed him as Pope.
I would like to see that.
So all's well here.
Exactly. Yeah. Any plans on retiring, or are you going to keep riding this train?
No plans whatsoever. We have never been hotter than we are this year. We received our 15th Emmy nomination, a record. I was nominated by the Producers Guild as Producer of the Year for the second time. Things are going very, very well in our place.
Yeah, that's certainly how it seems. So it all started with Paul Newman, and with 19 years now, we've got Hugh Jackman coming up tomorrow night. It'll air at 6 o'clock here, our time zone, on Bravo, of course. And like you said, a lot of big stuff coming up. You said you do 2 weeks of research before these interviews. Is that what sort of stuff do you do for research? Do you watch all their films? What's research?
Watch all their films, watch everything that they've done, read everything that they've said, read everything that's been said about them. It takes 2 weeks. It takes seven days a week for 2 weeks for me to prepare.
That's very intense, but I mean, obviously necessary, and it pays off in the end with the great interviews. Are there ever questions, Mr. Lipton, that you feel that you want to ask but you don't know? I mean, do you ever walk that line? This might be too personal. The
only thing there's no pre-interview. They don't know what's coming next. We're unique in that respect among talk shows and interviews. But if, for example, I'm going to ask them to do something on stage, for example, I wanted Hugh Jackman to dance for our students. Mm-hmm. So if I'm going to ask him to do something like that, I don't want to embarrass him on the stage where he would have to say yes or no. So beforehand, that's the only question I'll ever ask. I say, I'd like to ask you to dance. Would you want me to ask you, or you would not want me to ask you?
I see.
And then I abide by their decision.
Okay, so you're not one of the guys that's there to try to zing somebody or get them caught in an odd question that they're not comfortable asking. You're there more.
That's not the business we're in.
You're in the business of educating.
It's a classroom. It's a master class for master's degree students. So obviously, I'm not there to make them feel uncomfortable.
Exactly. So a very, very, very good show for anybody that hasn't checked it out. Bradley Cooper was the first guest, who was also a student of yours, which was that was very. I've heard him talk about that, and that's got to be kind of exciting to see somebody that was your student go as far as he's gone now. Are you just absolutely proud of him?
I'm way beyond proud of him. We appeared together on Katie Couric last week. He's our family, and he's intensely loyal to the school. And he's a great friend of mine, and I absolutely respect him beyond words. He's a very, very good person, and God, is he a good actor.
Yes, he is a absolute fabulous actor. His co-star in the Silver Lining Playbook, Jennifer Lawrence, she turned you guys down this season for an interview. Isn't that correct?
She said she was too young.
Yeah. Do you respect
She's 22.
that?
She may be right.
Yeah.
She said, please wait for me. Wait till let me catch up.
Exactly. I think that she made the right decision there. You know, I mean, the show is...
I did disagree with her.
You did disagree or didn't?
Did not.
Okay.
I didn't argue the point.
Yeah.
She has to feel she's 20. She's younger than our students.
Exactly. I think that's pretty noble of her to say, you know what? You know, I'm not to the level of the Actors Studio, interview just quite yet. So have you ever had anybody do you befriend a lot of these people on the show? I mean, are you friends with a lot of actors?
We're on stage for 4 to 5 hours.
So do you
that generates a kind of comradeship that never goes away.
So do you, head over to De Niro's? I know Bradley Cooper hangs out with Bobby D, as he calls him, quite often. I mean, are you friends with some of these actors and, hang out with them personally when you're not doing the show?
Bob De Niro and I are both members of the Actors Studio, and so we know each other. We've known each other a long time.
That's got to be a fun life. I interview, celebrities all the time, and I love talking to them. But then, after I hang up the phone, that's the end of it. So it would be nice to, like you, get to continue those relationships. Is there anybody that you ever, at the end of an interview, think, "Oh, I wish I had more time. That 4 or 5 hours just was not quite enough"?
Always.
Always.
Always. Always. When you're talking about what we're talking about, which is the craft. Look, I threw Barbra Streisand, Dustin Hoffman, Tony Hopkins, Spielberg, Jim Carrey. I threw them out of the theater at 1 o'clock in the morning. I said, these kids have to go to class in a few hours. Get out. They and the students would stay all night.
That's beautiful. I mean, what a beautiful experience for those students just to be able to be a part of that. Of course, a lot of the younger generation knows you from the Will Ferrell parody of you on Saturday Night Live. Is that something that bothers you, or are you honored by that?
I treasure it.
I would too. That was my feeling. I think it's he does it. It's not mocking you. It's certainly a show of respect, and he does a pretty dang good impression.
Does
of you.
A good job, and we become friends.
That's great to hear. Well, another season for anybody that thinks that the Actors Studio was going anywhere or that James Lipton was going anywhere. Neither one is true. A big, very exciting season. Hugh Jackman tomorrow night kicking it off, and a bunch of very exciting things coming up on this season. I know that you are probably honored to speak to the people that you get to speak to, Mr. Lipton, and I am honored to get the opportunity to speak to you. So thank you so much for taking the time for us this morning. Best of luck this season, and hopefully best of luck on many more seasons of Inside the Actors Studio.
Thank you. We'll be talking again.
All right. Bye-bye, Mr. Lipton. Have a great morning.
Thank you. You too.
The Big J Show. Weekday mornings from 6 till 10 on Billings' #1 hit music station, Hot 101.9.